thinking about all these things like who has access to land, who has the opportunity to grow food, why have we historically disinvested in some neighborhoods in particular ways, and why are there certain parts of Duluth that have adequate and even abundant access to food, and then this is a neighborhood of 6,000 people and there's no grocery store.
In response to the Lincoln Park neighborhood being designated a food desert, a coalition of agencies worked with the residents to develop the Fair Food Access Campaign. A food desert is a neighborhood where access to fresh and healthy food is limited by both distance and financial resources. The Fair Food Access Campaign began going door to door and hosting community meetings to learn from residents what challenges they face in accessing food and what solutions they wanted to see. The neighborhood wanted a farmer's market, the ability to produce and harvest their own food, better transportation solutions to existing grocery stores, and closer retail options.
The Fair Food Access Campaign is truly a process of neighborhood engagement, so it's really what residents decide they want to see. That's the work that we want to partner on and help move forward.
Hi, yeah, my name is Carol. I'm with Fair Food Access, and we're doing a survey about food. And
it was kind of stressful at first because nobody really knew about the program, but now people welcome us. They're glad when they see us.
We feel those that are most impacted by all these health disparities that are out there need to be at the table, need to be leading.
In Duluth, if we don't fix this, it's going to lead to a really big problem.
We know there are people that are experiencing, just these crazy disparities. Sometimes it's life expectancy, sometimes it's health outcomes, sometimes it's income. And these disparities are a huge part of these ongoing cycles of poverty and ongoing cycles of inequities.
Part of healthy food access is having an understanding of where your food comes from, and also, being empowered and having the ability to grow your own food.
We had to get into gardening and farming for our own consumption.
If we want to talk about creating a food system that's equitable and sustainable, we can't have our meals traveling 1,000 to 1,500 miles, especially if we're living in these concentrated urban areas. So for us, it's been, I think, a success to be able to experiment with what food production looks like in an urban context.
We do have gardens that have common space. A good example is the Emerald Community Garden, which is in Lincoln Park, and that was started through the Fair Food Access Campaign. And that has a lot of public produce outside of the fence.
The whole idea is to bring people together to grow food or grow flowers or whatever they want.
Duluth has grown tremendously with the community garden project, but I believe that there should be one on every block.
I think it's really important for people to kind of have that hands-on experience, or to walk by a garden and see what carrots look like growing. Otherwise, you have this disconnect that we kind of have with our industrial food system.
So by making these little garden areas inside the city limits, kind of brings back some of that wildness, and it also helps bring in some of the most nutritious foods to the places that need it most.
The Lincoln Park Farmers Market accepts EBT, offers an EBT match, and provides a program for kids to get free produce. After the Fair Food Access Campaign piloted these programs, many other markets in town are now offering these same incentives.
I hear from a lot of families that appreciate that they can double their money just by eating healthy. That's great.
People that may have to rely on SNAP benefits to purchase food, a lot of times they'll only get anywhere from $8 to $16 a month if you're a single individual. So that's not much food to be able to buy. And then if you live in Lincoln Park, you have to go to the gas station to get your food if you're walking. Being able to go to a farmer's market and turn that $16 into $31 because of the match, that'll go a long ways.
I've gone a few times and it's always been a good experience. I went there because I knew I could do EBT there, so that was super cool. And it was really easy. I mean, it's like swiping your card. I'd really like to go back next summer a lot more.
Just being able to go get celery from the farmer's market and some nice vegetables. They even had meat. There was some lady coming down for bringing fresh meat. I loved that farmer's market.
You learn who the people are in your community, in your neighborhood, and that's an important thing.
So one of the really big projects that we just did as a coalition, and that we're still working on right now, is the Grocery Express. Because after canvassing the neighborhood, it was really clear that a lot of folks lacked access to transportation. That was a huge barrier.
For people being able to get on a bus that will take you directly to the door of the store, being able to shop under an hour, having it affordable so you don't have to take a taxi cab back because there's room on the bus for grocery bins, has been a huge victory.
It's been wonderful that the DTA has been able to work with us to help people who are struggling to get healthy food to their homes. That's what DTA helps us do.
Please join Duluth LISC in recognizing the Fair Food Access Campaign for their commitment, vision, and leadership in working with the community on a multi-pronged approach to ensure that residents have options and access to affordable, healthy food close to home.
I think there's a lot of community ownership of this project. I think that's something that we pride ourselves on, that it isn't just these agencies that are driving this work. It is the community that's driving the work, and there's plenty of community members that are Fair Food Access. The community is Fair Food Access, and I think that's what's really cool.
Between the agencies learning to work together, we're looking at policy changes with the zoning in Duluth about how do you make it easier to have edible gardens, on city property. How do you encourage mixed-use development that might lead to people having closer access to stores and to resources. So it's more of a ripple effect now that there's a lot of things underway that are making Lincoln Park a stronger neighborhood.
The Lincoln Park community is one that so many residents are really taking a sense of ownership over that community and building the best possible neighborhood that Lincoln Park can be.
When there's some commercial activity and people interested in living there, and if we can add the value of access to food, we really, we can really change the trajectory of a neighborhood.
Fair Food Access is growing, and we are making moves, and I'm looking forward to working with them more, and I'm hoping that we can expand to the east side of Duluth, and I can't see nothing but us growing bigger.